Hello and welcome to the Coors Event Center. I am Matt Smith for 5280 Sports Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry for that sound. I know it sounds kind of like a dying whale, maybe a seal. It's just the baskets being raised tonight after an upset victory over a top 10 team. Yes, Colorado basketball upsets the Oregon Ducks tonight, coming into this game ranked number 10 in the country, the first win over a top 10 team since they beat Oregon in this very building on January 6th, 2014. Huge win for Colorado. They've now won back-to-back games in conference play. After surrendering their first 7 of 2017, they are back on track. And the Buffaloes tonight came out and, in my opinion, and in Tad Boyle's opinion after this game, put their first full 40 minutes together tonight, and they did it defensively. The staple of what this program and what this system has been built around in defense and rebounding came out and showed itself tonight. In fact, Colorado was stellar. They were defensively. In the first half, they came out red hot. They, after Wes Gordon made a jumper, their first 2 points of the game, they hit three-pointers on 4 back-to-back possessions to take a 14-5 lead, spark the crowd here at the Coors Event Center, and really give themselves some momentum that they would need to really carry on throughout that first half. The Buffaloes and Ducks both turned the ball over each 11 times in that first half. Inability to take care of the basketball really evened things out there towards the end for Oregon, and they only trailed by 1 heading into half. It was a great first half, though. You had to be extremely happy with what you saw in that first period of play, because this is a Colorado team that came out and competed defensively. Now, it was something I saw actually in practice yesterday. I felt like Tad Boyle poked the bear a little bit. Yesterday, it seemed, and probable starters were released, that the young guys in Thomas Akia-Zealy, Bryce Peters, Del Brown, Lucas Seward, and then Torrey Miller would be starting tonight, and things didn't sit too well yesterday in practice with these seniors, especially 2 of the guys who have been here for 5 years, and they came out, asserted themselves. Boyle flipped the starting rotation tonight, and they reacted very well. I was impressed with what not only Xavier Johnson and Wesley Gordon did, but Derek White, and even a guy who's had his struggles tonight, Josh Fortune, I thought, put in some really nice minutes in this one. So the Buffs led 35-34 at halftime. Well, you figure Dana Altman, who had done some really nice coaching at the end of that first half, a couple of really nice defensive schemes after timeouts there, to really bring Oregon back into this one. You figured he'd have some tricks up his sleeve, but really more of the same from Colorado, if not to another level. Their defense was outstanding. In fact, in the second half, they held Oregon to 8 of 27 from the field, 29% shooting, and 6 of 20 from the three-point line, 30%. What was even more impressive than that was freshman guard Peyton Pritchard for the Oregon Ducks, who, by the way, I am extremely high on. I think that kid has a bright future in this conference. He's been really good all season long, but big shot after big shot tonight for Dana Altman's team. He had 14 points. In fact, the rest of the team in that second half only had 17 points for the Ducks on what was it, a combined 4 of 18 shooting. We're talking about Dylan Brooks, Tyler Dorsey, Jordan Bell, Chris Boucher. The list goes on. These guys were shut down in Colorado's defensive effort, and it wasn't one guy, it wasn't 2 guys. Defensively, it was an entire team effort, something Boyle's been preaching all season. It's nothing new to these guys. These guys have heard these things every day in practice since the beginning of camp. For some of these guys, they've heard it for 5 years now. Well, something clicked, and Colorado tonight, I think Boyle pushed the right buttons in practice yesterday, and I think the Buffs came out with the energy and the intensity that they needed to have to win a game like this. And not only that, they needed to slow down Oregon. Dana Altman, one of his signatures is, after made baskets, getting the ball out and going, and transition defense becomes extremely crucial when you play a team like Oregon. And tonight, Colorado got back in transition. They limited the Ducks in the fast break, and in that second half, the Buffaloes attacked consistently, and they were led by Derek White, who had 17 points in the second half on 5 of 7 shooting. He was brilliant, made the right play, not only on the offensive end, but defensively. Derek was all over the floor communicating, really led this team tonight. Very impressed with what I saw from Derek White. Around the 7-minute mark, he nailed a big-time triple, and from there on out, he really closed this one out. It wasn't a situation where he waited for the Buffs to get down. He really took charge and asserted himself which I think we've seen at times this year, but not taking away anything from Derek, but I think we really saw another level tonight. He grew up. I mean, this was a big time win for this team. Yes, they're 2-7 now in conference, and yes, they're still buried in this conference despite the fact that they just knocked off a top 10 team. But the boost that this gives to this team's psyche now heading forward throughout the rest of this season is big. I mean, they've got, what now, 9 games left on their schedule. Colorado really has to find a way to build on what they showed tonight. In the second half, Colorado had the advantage in the paint, 18-2. You're talking about a team who went up against Jordan Bell and Chris Boucher, who, in my opinion, team up to make one of the best front courts in all of college basketball. Dylan Brooks as well. He didn't have a good game whatsoever for the Ducks. 6 turnovers in that first half, a lack of composure, and the viral video of Dylan Brooks flopping last week kind of extended itself here tonight. There was a pretty egregious flop, I think it was in that first half, from Brooks, but besides the point, Colorado did a really good job taking care of the basketball, which they did not do in the first half. In the second half, they did. 11 turnovers in the first half, just 1 turnover in that second half was crucial. They defended, they held Oregon to under 30% shooting. They only turned the ball over 1 time. They made shots themselves, and they were led by their 5th-year senior, Derek White. This was exactly the type of team that more of us thought we'd see on a consistent basis this season. They showed it tonight. They showed that they certainly are capable of going out and competing with top teams in the country. And as Tad Boyle said after the game, and I completely agree with him, this Oregon team is a Final Four contender. They are legit, and the Buffaloes did a very good job tonight on a very tough mountain road trip for the University of Oregon. Colorado comes out victorious, 2-game winning streak in conference. Really impressive stuff. It was gut check time, and the Buffaloes stepped up. They banded together, and what was really impressive about this tonight is what I alluded to earlier. It wasn't 1 guy, it wasn't 2 guys, it wasn't 3 guys, which we've been talking about, and it had been somewhat of a consistent theme here as the season has played on. It's contributions from guys outside of Xavier Johnson, Derek White, and George King at times. Well, tonight, Colorado got great minutes from Lucas Seward off the bench. Actually, in his last 2 games, Lucas has really given the Buffs some nice minutes. Like I alluded to earlier, Josh Fortune, I thought, played very well tonight. Torrey Miller with a pretty decent game. Bryce Peters, I thought, down the stretch gave the Buffaloes some very good defense. For a freshman, Bryce is a very good communicator. And more than anything, I think Colorado played together tonight. I think that's something we've been waiting to see. It was a full 40 minutes of basketball on both ends of the floor, especially defensively. We've been talking about it now, how Colorado's offense has been good enough for them to beat most everybody. In fact, up until tonight, they had 4 straight games with 80 points or more. Well, tonight it was their defense that made such a huge difference, allowing a team that was averaging over 80 points a game in conference and was on a 17-game winning streak, only 64 points. Colorado did a very good job. The message was received tonight, and it'll be very interesting to see how they build on this moving forward. Colorado next goes on the road to the Bay Area. They'll take on Stanford at 9 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday. That's a big game for the Buffaloes because you've got 2 winnable games, in my opinion, on the road at Stanford, at Maples Pavilion, which is not a tough place to play. You just have to play some good basketball. And then at Haas Pavilion when they take on Cal. Actually, interesting note real quickly, that game against Cal is on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So make sure you catch some Buffs basketball before things kick off between the Falcons and Patriots. It was a big win for Colorado tonight, 3-3 this season versus ranked teams. A great performance overall, and a shout out to Derek White, who was sensational, especially in that second half. I am Matt Smith from the Coors Event Center. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that brought a little relief to all you Colorado basketball fans out there this season who have been dealing with this grueling effort. Go online and follow our family of podcasts at 5280sportsnetwork.com. Also, please go on Twitter, follow me at Real Matt Smith. That's Matt with 1 T. At 5280 Sportsnet, and like I said, check out all of our content and exclusive coverage online at 5280sportsnetwork.com.